Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Check.
First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Check one, check one.
We live at 85, boss.
All right. Turn me up in my headphones.
Turn my headphones up.
It's like all systems go. Here we go. Right on. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul Beeee. I got Buddi3 Da Gawd with us.
Hey.
Yeah. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hump day, as they say.
Hump day.
Riding right along. This is Pop's favorite day. He's in the chat already saying it's Wednesday. Good morning, First Sky. I'm sending mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops.
Hey, mad love.
Up early in the morning. That's what's up.
Yeah, man.
If Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning to you. Well, we're just going to start talking about it right off. I know everybody's been dealing with the flood yesterday.
Man, neck deep.
Yeah. Buddy's been saying it. Buddy been saying it for a long time. That
Told
water,
y'all.
that infrastructure hasn't been good. It's been prone to floods.
Man.
Forever.
Man, flood mitigation. I've been saying it for, I feel like 2 years now. Flood mitigation. What is the city doing to plan on flood mitigation? What is the city doing to protect, its assets? Of course, I was thinking of more so downtown. It really caught my attention when the whole library situation, happened, and they took down the central library and they were planning to move it to like 14th and Jones or something. Isn't that where the temporary library was? Yeah, there was another site. And what caught my attention was in that report they said about 14%, increased chance of flooding at that location. I'm like, what does that mean?
For real.
What does that mean?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Definitely want to talk about whether or not you had your basement flooded last night. Definitely heard from a few people yesterday. So we'll be talking about it. It's kind of the news of the town here.
Man.
In Omaha, Nebraska. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning. Good morning. Man, he fresh in the chat. I ain't seen that name in a minute.
Welcome.
Morning. Appreciate you. Kimber Snipes gives us a good morning, y'all. Mark Matter gives us a good morning. Appreciate that. Marlon Harrison, good morning, First Sky family. I hope everyone is safe from the storms yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, man.
We're going to be doing some checking in. Apparently, the news outlets and checked in on Friends of First Sky on us.
They watch it. Monitoring spirits.
Putting the word out on Friends of. Okay. That's what's up. Anthony Rogers right in the chat. He says, this is the new normal. Welcome to climate change. And pretty soon, no homes will be insured. That's the thought, man. I got some friends that's got some businesses out here in Omaha right now that their insurance dropped them. And now they got to go look for some other insurance.
Really?
Yeah, they're shifting in the insurance winds all the time. And if you live somewhere where you have to have insurance to run your business, but you can't find anybody who wants to insure you because, the property is expensive we're dealing with high winds damage. What are you going to do?
Man, that's actually something we haven't really talked about a lot here is the insurance piece. Of course, we've been working with the land bank, trying to get people to purchase some land. You do have to pay insurance on your land. Mama Guy, has been telling me about her insurance. We've been talking about property taxes, and how that is skyrocketed. But she's also mentioned that her insurance cost has tripled over the course of her owning her home as well. So that insurance is definitely an interesting portion in all of this.
Lots to talk about on that for sure. Kimber Snipes says grandma's house flooded, filing a claim with the city. Yep, that's the story I'm hearing around town for real. Sue Kessler Hagen gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Anthony Rogers Rice says good morning from the ATL.
Okay, down in my neck of the woods, huh? Let's what you down here for? Let's link up for lunch or something.
Yeah, Marlon Harrison said, "Who made Mother Nature upset? And please apologize to her. I'm tired of all these storms."
Oh man.
Kimber Snipes says heading to Lubbock, Texas this morning for the Neighborhoods USA Conference. That's what's up.
Okay. New son.
Lubbock, Texas. That's what's up. Miss Erica Fell says, good morning. We can't ever go into the backyard because it has been mowed so long due to rain. Man, need some help over there chopping it down.
Yeah, talking about the babies.
Yeah. Mark Manor in the chat says, I parked down the block from the library. There's a huge houseless encampment under the bridge, and their stuff was washed under parked cars and tents in the middle of the street, and police were there. Wow. See, they seem to be helping. He said police seem to be helping.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Good. Thanks for clarifying.
Right. We'll be talking about the police today.
Anthony Rogers Rice says there's no more private insurers in Iowa. Nebraska's next.
Wow.
Private insurers. Sarah Fell says insurance is an issue aside from weather. Child care businesses are losing insurance for no cause, but need it to remain licensed. Exactly what we're talking about. It's the law to have insurance in there, and insurance can control whether or not they want you. They want to cover you.
Drop you for no reason, apparently.
Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning.
Hey.
Appreciate you very much. Rome's Review says, and they tell me it never rains in Southern California. Come on with the Tony Tone.
Has done it again.
Appreciate everybody jumping in the chat, giving us the good mornings. Already jumping into this again. We put the word out yesterday on Friends of First Sky Omaha, along with some other news sources that are saying if people are having some issues, let's share some resources and get people helped out. Had to go over to a couple friends' house yesterday myself and pail out the basement. So, there's a lot of folks with their basement flooded. Let us know if that has happened to you, if there's any resources out there that you can think of that can help people that need it. So, we'll definitely keep that in the top of our brain here for the rest of the show. We also have a special guest coming in today.
Man.
Yeah, very special guest. Shar Bates is in the house, and I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Very dynamic individual. We'll be talking about a lot of things, including Cop City out in Atlanta, what's been going on there, and how there's Cop Cities planned for everywhere in the USA. So it's going to be a very compelling show. If you don't know much about this Cop City situation, you're about to find out in a big way. So hopefully you will stay tuned. And another fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the mornings happening right now.
In the morning.
Stay tuned.
I'm Dave.
What up? Good morning. Once again, a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. My bad.
It's happening right now. Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. Appreciate everybody jumping on in. If you're just joining us, welcome. A special guest today, Shar Bates from out of Atlanta is going to be coming on through and talk to us about a few very important things. I can't wait for you to meet her. So definitely stick around for that. Also, we were putting the word out there, people that got affected by the flooding, let us know your experience. Let us know if there's any resources that we can spread around to other folks that might need some help.
Yeah, man.
That's going to be a little bit of a thing today to talk about. Lots of rain, lots of storming that's been going on, and then on top of all that stuff, all the debris and the things that's happened that's still laying out here from the tornadoes. Now everything's getting going underwater, and there's been some deaths in Iowa over the flooding and some things. Yeah, so there's a pretty serious situation out here. Although today is supposed to be a cool 75. So it's supposed to be a really nice day today. We're finally getting a little break. There'll be some storming tomorrow night, but we get a little break today. Yep.
Man.
Yeah. So it's a fine time that every spring, I guess we talk a little bit about one of Buddy's evergreen topics, the water infrastructure, the flood infrastructure in Omaha. Man, he's been complaining about it for years.
Hey man, you know, I hate to say it, but I told you so.
He did tell you so. Kimber Snipes in the chat says the city planning department came out to the house and took pictures and looked at everything. That's interesting that city
Mm.
planning came out to see what was up on the situation. I wonder that makes me wonder, if they're in the planning department, they're sitting around talking about some of this infrastructure stuff and actively seeing where places are flooding and so on, and putting that in new plans.
I mean, it's from what I'm hearing, it's flooding in all the places that you would kind of expect it to be flooding. You know, Saddle Creek, I heard was pretty bad. Of course, 72nd Dodge areas, especially like the 72nd and Military, that kind of turns into a river sometimes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's interesting. A little bit of news I glimpsed yesterday on TV. They were kind of praising Mean Gene about about some of the work that's been done. Apparently, they dug out some canal a little further, and if they hadn't done that, the flooding would have been worse. So they like to pat everybody on the back about some things, but we still underwater in the basement.
Yeah, and not just that, but in the dark. Again, according to reports, about 18,000 homes, as OPPD reports, without power. And I can only think of a couple years ago when a major storm hit that the Omaha area, and certain areas of the city were out of power for weeks. Yeah, wonder how long it's going to take to get people back on their feet, especially as you mentioned, on the heels of this tornado. These tornadoes that hit down in the Midwest, just not even a month ago.
Yeah, biggest tornado season ever in Nebraska. It's really crazy. Larry Keiser gives us a "What's Up Wednesday." What's happening, Larry
Hey,
Keiser? It's good to see you. And Anthony Rogers Wright says, and we all know that FEMA is one of the most racist institutions in the U.S. So good luck with those claims, black people.
man,
Yeah, they ain't trying to give no money up. They trying to save them for them concentration camps they building.
man.
Mr. Rickenfeld says lawn service keeps planning to come and then it rains. It's like a jungle out here.
Okay.
You wonder how I keep from going under.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Read my mind, Paul. Read my
Couple of
mind.
musicians over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Rose Review says, hit the like button. Please do that. Yeah, we're still
Sure.
looking to grow our audience over here on YouTube. So hit the like and subscribe if you're there.
Make it hot.
She said, get that man some caffeine. Man,
Man, some drunk shit.
got to get down with the Drunk Ship Coffee. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Drunk Ship Coffee for sponsoring the show and
Yeah, man.
sponsoring our news briefs. drunkshipcoffee.com. Check them out. They source a bean from Ethiopia, from one farm in Ethiopia, the birthplace of coffee. So they get down. And those of you that have won the Drunk Ship Coffee contest, let us know how all that was for you. How did you enjoy it? Did you get your package? All that good stuff. But shout out to Drunk Ship, and we'll keep on bigging them up as we go. Also, just wanted to jump in here real quick and say, yes, get that man some coffee. I apologize for the low energy that I got today. Don't know what was going on. It's been a tough go of sleeping this past couple days, and I know that yesterday had to do with that alarm going off at 4 in the
Mm.
morning. Crazy because of the storms. I ain't been right since.
Ah,
Yeah, so
okay.
where I live is right next to one of them sirens.
Ah,
Bro,
yep, yep, yep.
4 in the morning, I'm getting blasted out. So let us know. People are saying that here. Let's see. Anthony Rogers Wright says the city will punt it to the feds. Okay. Maggie Miller Jenkins in
Mm.
the chat. Good morning. Says on Monday we didn't talk about the coup attempt in Haiti or the Iranian president and key cabinet members died in a plane crash. Just wanted to drop it before I forgot. Okay. Yep. We a little bit hyper focused here, so we definitely put the things that's going on in Omaha first. But yes, these are some very significant national news as well. I appreciate you letting us know
Yeah.
about that. And yeah, that's been very significant. What's been going on here with what's in Haiti, and also as far as national news is concerned, they're trying to figure out what's. I mean, that plane crash, the Iranian
Yeah.
plane crash is a little it was a little
Yeah.
scary,
And
a little scary when
I
you
mean,
think about what. Mhm.
there's some connections to everything that we're actually talking about. There's a kind of a common thread, if you will, as far as the Iranian situation. I haven't quite heard about Haiti, so thank you for dropping that into the chat. As Paul
Mhm.
mentioned, we don't really talk about national or international news too much But as far as the Iranian situation, it is connected to some of the things we will be talking about today. As far as Palestine, because Hamas is backed by Palestine or by Iran, they did issue a statement about the passing of the Iranian president and a few of the cabinet members. And
Hmm.
of course, Palestine is the topic of discussion for a lot of the university protests across the nation and things like that. So it's it's all in one conversation.
Yeah, Yeah, we're not opposed to talking about a little bit more national news. We definitely just want to put out there that we want to discuss the news that is affecting us and affecting you, the chat chimers, especially the people that are really tuned in to checking us out and involved in the conversation. We can have more of those kinds of conversations. I was just thinking about me learning about the Iranian president, the plane crash from the Earn Your Leisure podcast. So
Mm.
I'm looking at a podcast talking about economics and how to invest, and it's on their radar, and they talk about it. So you get the information from where you're going to get it from, because it is all tied together some kind of way. So yeah, we can definitely keep on talking about some of these things. If you put those articles in Friends of First Sky Omaha, which a lot of you have been doing already, appreciate it. Yeah, continue to put the articles that you feel are relevant and ready for us to discuss in Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page on Facebook. Appreciate that. Mr. Rickenfeld says 108th and Fort even flooded.
Yeah, man.
Mm. Marla Harrison says, I saw the Titanic going down Saddle Creek. Saddle Creek turned in back into a creek.
Yeah,
Basically.
man.
Heather Williams says, Grand Ridge Apartments displaced tenants told to go to the Francis house. No assistance at all. Wow. See, this is the kind of stuff we were worried about right here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Grand Ridge Apartments. So again, if there's any resources out there that you were able to take advantage of, please spread the word. And because there's still some people that are underwater, out of power, and all that good stuff too. So like I said yesterday, I went around to two friends who had to help them kind of bail some water out of the basement. And there was more people that I talked to that was doing the same at the time. So it could have, it was all day, and some of them are still there. Some of them are still in that situation. So definitely reach out to your neighbor, reach out to your family, find out what situation they're in, and any resources that you got, post them in Friends of First Sky Omaha so we can spread that around.
Big time.
Yep. Looks like you guys are having a conversation between each other. That's cool. Miss Erica Feld says, I was thinking about Buddy missing his cue in the morning.
Yeah. She said, I need some coffee.
You need to get some drunk shit.
Yeah, I need the drunk shit.
Nah, that was just that was tech.
Yeah, it was a tag. I muted myself because they made some changes, and now we got to do
See what I'm
extra
saying?
stuff. Yeah.
They couldn't just leave the mute button where it was before. Now we got to go searching for it.
Yeah.
Hot mess. Mr. Eric says siren is up at the corner. Was pouring milk for 11 children lunch, and it started going off. Man, I mean, I'm happy for it. I'm glad.
It worked.
I'm glad we got an early warning system, but man, the speaker is loud when it's right next to your window. Tony Johnson said extreme weather and still daily shootings. Crazy times these days.
Yeah, and apparently stabbings as well. There's been a lot of I'm not sure what's going on with that.
I was thinking about like the I don't know how I've been feeling the electricity in the air kind of ever since the tornadoes. Right before the tornadoes, actually, it felt like kind of wild outside. I don't know how to explain it. But it felt, I don't know if it's the electricity in the air, the wind is whipping up, or this time of year. I'm not sure what it is, but it felt like everybody's out. Just the kind of feeling that you get when there's a storm happening, you're out in it. When you think about that feeling, that's kind of how things have been feeling around here. So I would imagine because it's still warm, it's still in the 70s and 75, 80. A lot of times it's been pretty warm during a lot of these storms. It only dipped down to about 65 last night for the first time. But every time we've been having storms and this kind of weather thus far, it's been in the 70s. So it's been still warm enough to be outside, and it just feels crazy. So, I feel like we've been doing this long enough to know this time of year, that type of feeling. There's going to be some violence. There's going to be some things happening. Because, it's like people get anxious just right along with the weather, feels like to me. So, I don't know how to explain that any better, but it's been feeling real wild out here for real.
Yeah.
Real full moonish.
Actually, I think it was a full or new moon the other day. But yeah, it is kind of interesting. As things heat up, so do the streets. That
So
woman
true.
says springtime brings spring showers and shootings, unfortunately. So
Mm.
yeah, hopefully we can get that down pat. But um, yeah, let's go ahead and dive just about 20 minutes into the show. You want to dive into what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, real quick before we do that, though, I just want to acknowledge Anthony Rogers Wright. Since we were talking about national news, he says the U.S. Sent Kenyan troops to the Revolutionary Republic of Haiti to keep the peace.
Mm,
So a little bit more news
keep
on
the
that.
peace, he
Keep
says.
the peace. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we can continue to talk about some of these things as well. We'll definitely put that to the side. I appreciate everybody who's joined into the chat. I'm not going to read all the rest of the chats, but thank you very much for that. We'll come back to it in a minute, but in the meantime, between time before our special guest comes in, yes, buddy, let us know what else we're going to be talking about today for sure.
Yeah, of course. Still diving into some of the details surrounding the storms and the power outages and flooding across the city. Also, it is quite interesting. Again, I've been calling out the city about their flood mitigation and what are they doing about that. But of course, Mean Jean just had her State of Omaha address, and she's saying that everything is peachy, hunky dory, according to according to Gene Stothert. Again, if you haven't heard, Omaha has been designated and identified as the number one city to move to. She's saying crime is down, 3 million raised for tornado help. So yeah, we'll definitely dive into the city of or the state of Omaha address, and we'll definitely love to hear from any chat chimers that caught that or went to it, or yeah, definitely hear your thoughts on that. Also, looking at a few other things going on around the Omaha metro area. Of course, we're still looking at DHHS. Apparently, they have identified a facility for vulnerable adults disappeared, and apparently they're in violation. This is continuing the conversation we've been having about the DOJ designation. Again, the Department of Justice finding that the entire state of Nebraska, not really handling its Nebraskans with mental health issues the best. And again, this is the latest finding coming out from DHHS. So we'll definitely talk about that. Also, OPS making changes to its pandemic aid plan purchases. Apparently, some more devices coming for the baby, some emergency radios, some other things. And definitely in light of this storm that just went down, emergency radios is kind of piquing my interest. So,
Mm.
seeing what OPS has coming down the pipe. Also, this is something. This is maybe just a mention a little later on, but there was some conversation last episode. Paul, I kind of saw your mind get blown when the mention of Trump or Biden not making it to the presidential election, and of course there was some conversation about Trump getting convicted or anything. There is an update in the whole Trump hush money trial that's going on right now. So just wanted to mention that.
Mm.
Again, there's some debate back and forth of whether or not Trump would get convicted. So yeah, the defense has rested. So going to give an update on that situation. I also kind of mentioned it on Monday, but didn't really get into it in depth. But again, reminding the people that it has been 5 years since our brothers and sisters with the Santee Sioux tribe has had drinkable water, and again, wanted to spend a little more time on that conversation if we can. And of course, if there's anything happening in your hearts and minds, feel free to drop that into the chat. Definitely would like for you to stick around in the chat. Of course, we have our guests coming up a little later on in the show as well, and expecting to spend a bit of time on that conversation. Sister Shar Bates from the A is coming through, and again, want to introduce you to this dynamic sister and also dive into some of the things that she's been very vocal on, Cop City, the protests at the universities, and just about anything else she wants to dive into. So again, this is First Guy Omaha in the morning. Again, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Thought you were gonna throw it to me. I was gonna
Oh, what's
in
the
the
word?
morning. Gonna give
Oh,
me a
my
little
bad.
Luther on.
My bad, my bad, my bad.
No, we ain't used to doing it like that. I was surprised. He was like, "Oh, I'm up in the
Yeah,
morning."
yeah.
Appreciate you today. Maggie Miller Jenkins in the chat is reminding us that today is Malcolm X induction for anyone wanting to come to the Capitol at 1 a.m.
Yes,
That's out
yes.
in Lincoln. Definitely check that out if you possibly can, and as many people as we can get down there to support that situation. Of course, this is the day honoring Nebraska's native son of human rights. Nebraska Hall of Fame Commission is happening today, 1 o'clock at the Capitol. So see if you can get down there if possible. That would be great.
Man.
Also in the chat, she says, I was just about to say that East High School in Lincoln lost 2 students in one weekend one from a stabbing and one from possible overdose. So,
Mm.
yeah, lots of wildness going on right now for sure. Wanda Lewis says I was without power for approximately 12 hours yesterday. Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
man.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you got it back on, so I'm glad to hear that. Also, Miss Erica Phelps says springtime brings showers and shootings. Heather Williams in the chat says this weather is messing up everything. My central graduation ceremony postponed until Friday.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, man, graduation's getting postponed. All kinds of stuff is happening over these floods and storms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony Johnson says something definitely is in the air. People fighting and police called on graduation last week.
That's
Wow.
speaking of graduations. That's definitely what I was thinking about. Did catch wind of that situation? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anthony Rogers Rice says we have no plan for climate crisis in Omaha, and it's going to cost people lives and homes.
I've been saying it, man.
Not only, I mean, you talking about like
Businesses.
a big climate crisis plan, but let alone just the regular infrastructure right now in areas that get flooded every single time there's rain. So like they can't even get that straight, let alone a whole climate crisis solution.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is one. Maybe I'm talking outside of my neck. Maybe there is one. We'll find out. Jess
Oh
Parker
yeah.
in the chat. Good morning. Says, where was me and Gene yesterday during the storms and flooding?
Man, somewhere out of town, right near the beach.
Calling
Chilling.
it in. Yeah, appreciate you. She said, Miss Erica said, do you know how hard I fall out if she actively said peachy hunky dory? I'd get a concussion from falling out laughing.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, she might as well have. Might as well have.
Tony Johnson called her address. Said would love a response from John Ewing and others running against her. That's a
Okay,
great
that's a good
idea.
point. It's a good point.
Wanda Lewis says the sewer separation project needs to pick up the pace to suppress some of the flooding issues. They are billing us monthly.
I
Wanda
thought so
Lewis has
too.
been talking about this for a long time, for a couple years since we've been on. She's been talking about this sewer separation project.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely help with the flooding, and also since we're getting bills for it, might be something we need to bring somebody on and ask them some hard questions about.
Yeah.
Real.
Every time I mention flood mitigation, she brings it up. Like, yeah, don't forget, we can charge for it. It
Right.
ain't just what's the plan? Like, where's the money? We can charge for this. Why is my money going to this?
Man.
Yeah,
727, if you believe in the concept of time. Let's go ahead and jump into some stories before our special guest, Shar Bates,
yeah,
comes
man.
through. Please stick around to meet Shar Bates. I think it's going to be a very enlightening conversation, and I can't wait for you to meet this dynamic individual out of Atlanta who's doing a lot of speaking up. So we can't wait to speak to her. But in the meantime, between time, buddy, what you got coming?
Yeah, yeah. So again, just definitely wanted to dive into some more details of this flooding situation. Again, 3 to 7 inches of rain reported across much of the area. Of course, not just as Marlon Harrison, the Titanic down the Saddle Creek. It wasn't just that, really. A large portion of the Omaha metro area, actually both eastern Nebraska and western Iowa, hit hard. And Paul, as you mentioned, some deaths have been reported in Iowa. I haven't heard of any deaths in the Omaha area though. So if any of you have any information on that, feel free to share that in the chat. But again, a new record was set. Setting new record stages in at least one location. Talking about a Big Papillion Creek. And after that system moved on, another track through the metro area in the early afternoon. Again, more rain. And Paul, you did mention also more rain to be expected tomorrow night.
Yep, another little storm coming through.
Yeah, man. So again, check on your peoples. Check on your peoples. Check on your loved ones. Again, as Sister Wanda Lewis said, she was without power for about 12 hours, and I'm sure there are more homes, more people, more community members without power. Even still, again, about 18,000 homes, according to OPPD, lost power. Of course, there are many people, jumping up to help in between city and utility workers and storm weary residents got down to business clearing the streets, repairing power lines and fixing water mains and mopping and wet vacuuming basements and businesses. As Paul, you mentioned, you was out there as one of those residents helping folks. Of course, a heavy rain flooded the parking lot at several businesses along Saddle Creek and carried actually one of the shop's dumpsters to a post office several blocks away. And again, as a lot of people are mentioning, climate change is a real thing, and whether people want to admit it or not, there will be real impacts. And again, I bring up the question: what is the city doing for its flood mitigation? Even some of the plans that they already have in place that was supposed to stop flooding actually didn't really do that. Thinking of the Papio NRD, and there was the Papio River flooded. Apparently, there was some debris that blocked the dam that was supposed to assist with the flooding mitigation, but that got blocked up. And there are some farmers in the area that were worried about that. But when I think of flood mitigation in the city, I'm thinking more so the downtown area. Of course, you remember when I think of flooding, you remember the whole Rick Boathouse Cafe situation that basically wiped it away. Rick Boathouse was wiped away. Of course, that was due to some other things upstream of the Missouri River that caused the Missouri River to rise and rise and rise. But again, you think of all the multi-million dollars that's coming to not just the Omaha area, but the riverfront. Of course, more development going to happen. We see ConAgra campus getting finished. Of course, there's a multi-million-dollar soccer stadium that's supposed to come to that area. We've talked about, extensively the airport business park. We've talked about just the airport itself is supposed to get an expansion. And again, with all of this investment, Gene Leahy Mall getting revamped, the new Mutual of Omaha Tower, what is being done to, secure all of these things from flooding? And again, definitely want to know more about the sewer separation project. Sister Wanda Lewis said, or anybody in the chat, if you have more information, what is the sewer separation project about? And yeah, that's just kind of where my thoughts are in regards to that.
Hmm.
Um, Anybody has any input?
Yeah, let us know if you have any other input. Again, we're putting the word out there for everybody who has been underwater and out of
Yeah,
power.
yeah, yeah.
That if there's any resources or anything that you guys have, and any help that can be given, then please put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha. Let's get that coordinated. Like I said, I don't think this is over. I think there's some, like I said, a storm coming tomorrow night. So there's going to be a few things happening, and they're going to put some money into this situation over there on that riverfront. They're not going to let what happened with Rick's Boathouse happen again with as much
Man, hopefully not.
money and infrastructure they're putting in over there. Like Anthony Rogers Wright is saying, building a massive new sports facility over natural drainage systems is not helping.
Mm,
I do believe they're going to put a bunch of money in this myself. Which is, we always think about that every time anybody's doing anything when it comes to North Omaha. We're thinking or anywhere close to North Omaha. We're thinking, what does this mean for North Omaha?
right, right.
So there's no way they're going to get away with having building all this riverfront, attractions. I mean, illuminariums over there now. I mean, they're not gonna let that place flood again. So there's some money's going in. We got to see what that means. Anthony Rogers, Rome's Review says the Anchor Inn is no more. Those kids got into the downtown parking garage elevator during the flood last year, and almost passed away.
Mm.
Yep, remember that? Remember the scary footage of them kids in that elevator that was getting flooded? Water was up to their
Yeah,
chest and neck. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Again, that was downtown.
yep, the Anchor Inn. So that's interesting. I didn't even keep track of what happened to that building after that happened, but he says it's no more. So
Mm.
yeah, interesting. Ms. Sergafel says all the money being put in for the show tourism instead of helping Omaha citizens is tax money literally being washed away with no climate change plan.
Mm.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah. Also, Tony Johnson says they know it's insured, and finding will be found from somewhere else. Funding will be found from somewhere else. From sure, yeah, for sure. Anthony Rogers Rice says, "Oh, they're going to protect North O after all the black folks get washed out. See New Orleans. See also New Orleans." So
Mm.
yeah, that's my thought on it. We think about the millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars that's going that's happening with the airport park, everywhere around the river is getting massive upgrades. So again, what does that mean for North Omaha?
Yeah, yeah. Constantly asking the question, what are the plans? Not just flood mitigation, but of course housing. We talk about the Lincoln versus Omaha affordable housing plan, and some of the moves we're seeing in Lincoln versus the lack thereof. To be honest, in the Omaha area. Um, And yeah, constant economic plans. Of course, we do know that there is a city 2025 plan. But what does North Omaha fall in that? Where do we fall in that? What is the plan for our communities? That's always a question. And of course, there is a plan, but again, it always seems like we're on the outside of it. And I'm just kind of curious: are people feeling what Mayor Gene Stothert is saying? As I pivot into this state of the city address, because it's not just the flooding, it's not just the infrastructure, but what resources are out there? What is the city really doing? And I just wonder, do you kind of feel what Mayor Stothert is saying, or agree with this recent designation that Omaha has been announced as the number one place to live? And that's something that Mayor Gene Stothert is definitely leaning into as she announced her 11th State of the City address. And apparently, again, this designation came from Forbes, which is pretty reputable. But do we agree? Again, Forbes ranked Omaha the number one city to move into in 2024. Mayor Stothert said during her address, downtown, golly, when I first became mayor in 2013, there wasn't much going on. Now you see cranes everywhere. Again, touting all of the Tiff Alley. I'm gonna just throw that in there. Projects that have been popping up in the Omaha area. Forbes actually ranked Omaha 100 over 100, and Stothert say while they took many things into account, like safety, livability, unemployment, and affordability. All of those things again went into Omaha's designation as number one. And actually, one resident who calls Omaha home because of the affordable cost of living says, I have looked into moving out of state, and I'm still here for that reason because, yeah, it's a lot cheaper to be here. Southard also says Omaha has become recognized as one of the best of lists, reflects the work the Urban Core Committee has done to reverse brain drain and bring young professionals to Omaha, which I don't know. I'm kind of seeing the opposite, being one of the young professionals that have left Omaha to find other options.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She went on to say they like urban living, they like affordable housing, the walkability. I'm gonna dissect that in a second. But again, she says they like urban living, they like affordable housing, they walkability, they like public transportation, they like entertainment, they like open spaces. Every one of those things is what we did with the Urban Core Committee and decided this is our direction and our focus. The Forbes article also shows between 2016 and 2020, 5,000 people left Omaha. Another reason the Urban Core Committee is working to bring young people back to the Omaha area. But it's not just the livability of the Omaha area, but apparently the economic side of things have been recognized as well. I've read in other articles where it states that Omaha is actually ranked top of the nation's fastest growing economic areas. Again, there's been a lot of change, a lot of investment, a lot of infrastructure updates in the Omaha area. I forget the exact percentage, but it does say there is again a certain amount of percentage where the economic development in Omaha has grown. But again, I'll stop there and ask all of these things as far as what she's saying, the livability, the affordability. Is North Omaha feeling that? Are there just certain portions of the community that feel this, or are we sensing this in our own communities as well? Does this echo our experience? And again, I do find it interesting in what Stothert is saying about they like urban living, they like affordable housing. When I hear those things, I'm thinking of who are the young people that they're trying to recruit to the Omaha area? Who is really Omaha for? Because as we know, it's not for everybody. That's their own words. It's not for everybody. So again, the question is, who is it for? And when I hear it start to talking about they like urban living, I'm thinking of the kids that's from rural Nebraska. I'm thinking about the kids that's from the farmlands and the rolling hills of Nebraska, and the millionaire farmer kids, and trying to entice them to the big city of Omaha, which is a dynamic in Omaha we don't really talk about. But again, who are they talking about?
Well, I think we already know who they're talking about. I don't think that when Mayor Stothert is talking about Omaha, she's not talking about the diversity of Omaha. She's talking about what the outward appearance of Omaha is, which is like you said, a lot of white families. They're trying to attract kids from rural areas, millionaire farmers or not.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Doesn't
mm-hmm.
really matter. urban and walkability means somebody moving here from Iowa that is a white person moving here from Iowa that's moved into Exarban Village and now they can walk around to the different restaurants and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's not. North Omaha is not ever really looked at that way or taken into consideration. Read an interesting article recently about the way that the rest of the world thinks of America. When
Mm.
when they think of America, if you really think about it, when any of us think of America, the vision is red, white, and blue. White folks. It's really interesting that we have to put African in front of American for Black folks. We have to put Asian American. We have to put the different countries in front of America because we're not considered America. We're
No, yeah.
considered yeah, and it's the same thing to me for Nebraska. The reason why us Black folks can go around the country and get that same question that we always get: Are there any Black people in Omaha? Is because
Mm.
they don't think Omaha is Black. They think Omaha is white. They think Nebraska is very white, and so do the people in Nebraska. So we already know that they're not talking about all our experience or our areas when they're discussing those things. It might be affordable for some people. It might be affordable housing. Affordable housing, according to some people, is $1,100 for a 1 bedroom.
Mm.
That's affordable in a lot of circles, lot of areas. A lot of people understand that, but that's just leaving out a whole swath of the population of people that are underneath the poverty line that still are living in Omaha. Where's the walkability for us in our neighborhoods? Where's the it's a lot to it's a big statement to say, but I think right off the bat, I think we already know who they're talking about, who they're not talking about, who they want to attract, who they don't want to attract. It's kind of obvious. Miss Erica Phil says many of our children have grown up not knowing what it is to walk to the corner store unless they had lived in an apartment or downtown. Marlon
Mm.
Harrison said Omaha is not as bad as other cities, but not number one is a reach. We have issues like taxes, streets, jobs, homelessness. Again, if you're looking at stats, you're right. It's not as bad as other cities, for sure, in a bunch of different areas. And for some people, it's really good. I can see them. If you're thinking of the country as this white country that's making us over a certain amount of money and so on, then yes, Omaha probably looks great compared to other cities and other places in the United States. But every city has places where there's low economically affected individuals and families and communities, and those are treated as projects and charity help and so on and so forth.
Man.
They're not considered part of the city's appeal.
Mm. Treated as undesirables almost.
Yeah, problems that have to be solved in order for everybody to get to the point where they're feeling like they're feeling. So they have to. I feel like when I hear stuff like that, they're definitely leaving outside the town and whole swath of the community. Wanda Lewis says, I seen a video posted about on the flooded apartments where management and building owners told Channel 3 that they were not allowed to record damage to the tenants' units. Tenants were told to go to a shelter without providing any other assistance from anyone. Going back to that situation there, Anthony Rogers Wright says, yes, buddy. That's why Nebraska ranks 46 in equality and why we need to start spelling Nebraska with 3 Ks.
Mm.
46th in equality.
That's the bottom.
It's real. That's a different percentage than number one in the country. Mark Manner says, I work around a lot of young people and with young musicians, and the want to leave Omaha is there and happening. It's certainly not young creatives.
Yeah, man. I everywhere I look, I'm seeing more and more, indications that brain drain is going the opposite way than what Mean Gene is trying to say. Like, there's a lot of people leaving the Omaha area to find other opportunities, especially young people of quote unquote so called color.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Tony Johnson says, do not forget a falling school system with limited alternate options, people with kids not moving here to work. Mark Manner says, I do think that the transformation of downtown Omaha, not that building, the connection and interesting things happening in many different parts of downtown are positive or a positive. Not sure how much or that is Mean Gene. Not sure how much of that is Mean Gene. Yeah, like I said, I mean, we see building and growth all over the place. If we okay financially, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of us did stay here too. So I don't want to take that away from Omaha and from Nebraska, but I will say like that's not it's not if you're gonna we're number one, we ain't got no work to do. Then everybody who needs some help is in trouble.
Man, that part. And did you what you think
Go
you
ahead.
want?
Oh, I was
Because
just gonna read it.
yeah, I did want to pivot to another part of her address that, another area where Omaha is waving this whole number one flag, we're the top. And definitely, I'm glad you put it the way you put it. I'm definitely seeing the whole, we're the number one, we're the golden mean, if you will. We don't have any work to do, not just economically, but of course, you hear that from the police. The Omaha police has religiously said and pointed to the fact that they're known nationally as the standard of policing in the nation. And the city's budget and Omaha Mayor Gene Stother's address kind of echoes that. And she says in 2023, the homicide clearance rate in Omaha was 100%. Mayor Gene Stothert announced in her State of the City speech that in 2024, OPD is approaching the same clearance rate. In her speech, Mayor Stothert shared her commitment to making Omaha a safe place for all, adding crime has decreased 14%. Despite again everybody in the chat talking about the shootings and the violence that has been happening in the city, and fatal shootings are down 29% according to their numbers since 2022. But she does say that the police department is stretched too thin to keep this up. And of course, that most likely will mean more investment and more money going to the Omaha Police Department. She says our crime rate is down so much, and they are doing this 100 down. And to me, that is very amazing. We need 29 homicides, or excuse me, we had 29 homicides last year in the city of this size compared to Kansas City, our neighbors, where they had over 170. The Omaha Police Department does plan to add a class of 60 recruits this year. Mayor Stothert also says it will take 3 more classes of recruits, including the upcoming class, and are needed to go to get to full force. So they're still trying to bolster and increase the police force. And again, we already know that I believe the second largest budget item in the city's budget is the police force. So again, what does this mean? Are we going to see more tanks, more helicopters, more militarization of our Omaha police force, more training of our Omaha police force? So what does this mean for the 60 or so recruits that are supposed to come in? Will they be more diverse? Will they be people from the community, or will they be these rural people that we're talking about that apparently they're trying to recruit? Definitely some conversation needs to be had about that, and more attention needs to be pointed towards that as far as again police forcing and policing in Omaha.
I think it's going to be all of the above, which is the reason why I think we're going to get a cop city, just like Atlanta is getting one. There's going to be definitely more infrastructure, more money going into police, more training going to police, recruiting more police, and training them on some of these kind of paramilitary machines and things that they got in the police force now. Interesting stuff. So I think that's going to eventually turn into a situation where we definitely have a cop city, in the same vein that Atlanta is getting one. So hopefully we'll be able to talk to our special guest on that. You might want to check that, buddy, because I didn't when I sent over the invite, I put in there if there's any trouble getting on, let us know. So I definitely want to check that out on your end since that was your contact. But yeah, I definitely feel like that's something I can't wait to really kind of dig in and talk about. I was very surprised when we talked about Cop City last week or week before last, and a couple of the chat chimers hadn't heard of it. And I really, this is when we kind of went on this mission to uncover and find out what's going on. Anthony Rogers Wright got on the chat and sent us an article that talked about all the different cop cities that they're planning on building in the country. So yeah, man, yeah, I think this, I think it's huge. And when I think of the state of the Omaha, the state of Nebraska address or Omaha address that Gene Stothert did, and I think everything's hunky dory, peachy keen. We don't got no problems. They got to live up to that. So now so now we got but our police force is a little light, and we need to do something about that. And if homicides are down, great. If police had anything to do with that, then I guess great. If the police had anything to do with that, my experience, they usually come after the crime. But if there was some prevention, cool. If we have a comparable city out in Kansas where it's 120 compared to our 29. Yes, those are some good numbers, good stats. Maybe crime would be bigger here if there wasn't the police force that we got so far. Really not sure. I really have a hard time every time I look at these things trying to figure out what the point is, what is the difference. Excuse me. If we're still having issues with employment and economics, then I don't see. To me, that's kind of the biggest reason why there's crime. So I'm not really seeing exactly where things are. How do you even pinpoint that? How do you pinpoint how you lower crime? Because we all know that it's not just the police. So, but there's all these other programs and things out there. But we also say it's not just the programs. I always have this feeling there's a combination of all these things. But again, how do you even quantify it? Just because there was less homicides this year than there was last year, it doesn't necessarily mean it was because of the efforts of any groups that's the case. Could just be there was no beef out here in this time frame. So it's hard to say. Jump in the chat real quick. Tony Johnson says Cop City with a former black police chief. Yeah, the right hand of the mayor. Okay, and former high-ranking black officers running for mayor. Got to remember that that's the case too. They have been associated with the police. Also, he says for North Omaha, they need to include the millions of commerce opportunities happening right down the street from North Omaha. Have a percentage of contracts allocated to North Omaha. Those will be good ideas. Miss Erica Fell says we still have the multi-million-dollar RV that has only come out twice for photo ops. They can sell that. I forgot about that RV, that big tank they got. North Omaha is in need of a stable industry. If small business is the golden ticket, did for North Omaha, they need to be included in the millions of commerce opportunities happening right down the street from North Omaha. I agree, Tony Johnson. Definitely, we see that. Oh, I appreciate that. We see that. So yeah, that's absolutely the case. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking of. Marlon Harrison says rural kids don't want to move to Omaha. They don't want to deal with the traffic. I've met a lot of rural kids that feel like Omaha's a big city, and everybody kind of goes through that whole "I want to move to the big city when I get a certain age" thing. Some of them do. I've met a few that have done that and then moved back to their hometown. So, like I said, there's stats everywhere about everything. The thing is, what does our population look like? Who in our population are suffering? Number one, what's the percentage of people suffering out here? I don't like to look at it, from top down the way that I feel like they are. I feel like look at it from what's been helped, what's actually been helped. Because it's easy for a mayor to get on and say everything is going great, peachy, hunky dory.
Right.
Everything is going to because everything is going to plan. Like Anthony Rogers Wright said, the white supremacist plan. Everything's going well. Got more folks in jail. We got 2 more jails coming to fill up. So, and they're already pretty much spoken for. They're pretty much full. We got to start plans on some new ones, and put some more police on the street in order to fill them up. So yeah, there's doesn't feel genuine. Doesn't feel genuine. So
feels like the numbers are painting a different picture than was actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does. It does. When you think about if you're gonna give a speech about the city, we want to give words of hope. You want to show where we have progressed. You want to make sure that you keep the people feeling proud of their city. And then, but then you also you want to keep it real too a little bit. So you want to talk about some of the problems. From what I'm hearing, the only problem we have is not enough police.
That's according to Mean Gene, peachy hunky dory. But again, we have we have political organizers. We have business owners. We have everyday working folk. We have talking about listening in this chat right now. People who worked for city planning, people who worked in economic development, people who worked in workforce development. Y'all tell us, and Is this what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is this what you're saying? Is the economic development really happening, or is it just for certain communities? And what does it mean for our community?
Yeah. Like I said, it's so easy to really think about this in two different ways. And tale of two cities, as everybody likes to
Man,
talk about, it's really easy to do that because in the way that things are lined up, yes, in some ways, Omaha is ranking very high amongst cities where there's less problems, less crime, better economically suited, lots of jobs, lots of Fortune 100 companies here, lots of millionaires in town.
hmm
That's what it is. So that's true,
yeah,
but it also is leaving out a big swath of the community to say that that's what the only time that we're mentioned is when we're talking about how the crime is lower and how but we need more police.
which
Why
was
wouldn't
that.
part of your speech as mayor? Why wouldn't part of your speech be what's going on with the indigenous population here? What's going on with
Mm.
the immigrant population here? How is the black population faring? What is the job numbers in economically depressed areas? What has been done there? Why isn't that part of the state of the address?
Man, that is usually your tell sign of the actual health of a community or a city or area is how are the people on the fringes? What are the people? What's going on with the fringes? What's going on with the bottom rungs of society? And Marlon Harrison had mentioned it as far as homelessness, of course, is not bad as other areas like, LA that has Skid Row and Atlanta and New York and these areas. But homelessness is still an issue in Omaha. We've talked about the encampments, recently and those being shut down and folks struggling to find housing in the Omaha area. Yes, good point. What about them? And, it is kind of just an other type of mentality sometimes it feels like when the citizens on the fringes are talked about, they're almost seen as others, and I'm glad you put it in that way of the tale of two cities, because that's actually something that we're kind of seeing, and this is really almost exemplary of what we're talking about in the city, talking about this group home that was apparently on the fringes. Speaking of fringes, kind of on the fence of what's going to happen. This coming out of the Omaha World Herald. Headline reads: Future uncertain after City Council nixes group home plan for parolees near Omaha Country Club. So again, this is the tale of two cities. You got the Omaha Country Club, a more astute, well-off zip code area of our community, and in that community, there was an attempt to create, or there is an attempt to create a group home for individuals who are dealing with incarceration. Again, Omahans and citizens on the fringes. Again, the owners of a vacant group home near the Omaha Country Club are considering their options after the Omaha City Council denied their request for a permit to provide transitional living for people on parole or work release. Apparently, they just don't want them in their community, their neck of the woods. Parker, who is the executive director of the Mental Health Association of Nebraska, said Friday, I think we have few options, but I'm not sure what those are going to look like. She said the organization's leaders are talking with attorneys and other experts about possible next steps. They're not giving up on serving people in Omaha, but they also don't want to subject the people they serve to a hostile neighborhood. And again, why would the neighborhood be hostile?
Hmm.
The association, which runs two similar facilities in Lincoln, proposed a 9-bedroom transitional living program at 6055 Country Club Road. That's about a mile from the Omaha Country Club and less than 1 block from Springville Elementary School. They requested a special use permit from the city, and the Omaha Planning Board voted to recommend the council grant it. So this was something that they got backing, they got support from, at least from the planning department. However, the community looked at these individuals, looked at this effort as others that they don't want in their community. According to this article, many neighbors opposed the permit, although some neighbors supported it. And the Douglas County Sheriff Aaron Hansen also sent a letter of support, which is quite interesting. But the city council voted 4-1 Tuesday to deny the permit after a lengthy public hearing at which many neighbors testified against the proposal. A council vice president, Amy Melton, who made the motion, voted to deny, along with council president Pete Festerson, Don Rowe, and Ron Hugg. Of course, Councilwoman Juanita Johnson voted against the denial, again, in support of the group home. But again, she comes from a certain area of the community and represents a certain area of the community that, again, is oftentimes seen as others. And given the statistics of the breakdown of individuals incarcerated, it is of reason that some of these individuals that would be going to this group home might be of the quote unquote so-called Black and brown communities. This is something that I know you're kind of closely related to, Paul, have some insight on. Can you kind of speak to the pushback and the fight and what's really going on with this situation?
Yeah. As you know, we're working on a documentary film for Metropolitan Community College's 180 reentry program. They have a new program called the Life Program that is really taking the higher risk individuals that are incarcerated, been incarcerated for many, many, many years, that are coming out, jamming out, and they're putting them through classes, courses. They're being support for them on all kinds of different levels. And one of the ways that they support them is by connecting them with these places they can go when they come out. A lot of times you've been in jail for 25 years, you don't got family and people that you can come out and stay with. And a lot of times some of those houses are places where they need to go to transition out anyway. They're on parole or so on and so forth. So I've actually been to a couple of houses that some of the people that are incarcerated were staying at when they came out, or they were halfway, the halfway houses and so on. And and a lot of these facilities some of the facilities are great. Some of the facilities are not that great. Depends on the owners of these facilities, but all of them are helping these people transition back into society in a big way. And they're so happy to be free and out and there and ready to take care of a property and stuff, that there's usually not a lot of issues at all. As a matter of fact, I can't even tell you of any issues that's ever happened in those situations. So I've actually seen some of the houses, and every time I talk to some of those people who are in those houses, they say, yeah, the neighbors are not liking it. They find out that we're over here, and they protest, or they got something to say all the time. They don't like it. So when I was interviewing the staff over at the 180 reentry program, and they told me about this particular property, it was something that was standing out to me. Oh, this is by the country club area. I bet you're gonna get some kickback there. They were getting tons of kickback. They were having special
Yeah.
meetings and all kinds of stuff over this. The citizens, the neighbors, the neighborhood associations, all those kinds of entities were having these meetings, really, really, really trying to actively be vocal about how they did not want this in their neighborhood, just like a lot of the other neighborhoods did. The difference this time, though, I feel like is this is the first time I really kind of heard a city hall getting involved in this. And yeah, and the people that were there were saying it was real disgusting how what was being said and what went down, and the fact that it ended in them deciding, no, we're not going to help these folks out. We don't want this element in our neighborhood. Like I said, it seems to me very obvious that that's what would happen. If you know anything about Omaha, you know about the country club area. You already know that there's certain elements they always are trying to keep out, and it's no surprise, no shock. It's not like, I can't believe that they wouldn't let this. Obviously they're going to buck against this. But what's interesting to me though is that they're winning. They're winning. What neighborhoods do you think formerly incarcerated people should be living in? I wonder where you think they should go.
It's a good question.
Why wouldn't they be able to go any parts of the city? They're in tons of programs. They're in school. They have multiple days of no crimes committed, no anything. They've changed things around. They changed their life around. Most of them are going to group meetings in church and stuff on a regular basis. They're trying to work in the workforce and get jobs, and trying to be and trying to atone for the time they spent. And exactly where should they be doing that? So yeah, pretty messed up that this went down that way. And I hope to pull a little bit more out of this story for this documentary, because that specifically was one that kind of really got under me. Like I said, I've been to a couple different houses and spoke to inmates or people that were formerly incarcerated that are living in those houses that say their neighborhood doesn't like it either, but they're still there. They're still in there trying to prove people wrong about them, taking care of the properties. staying out of trouble is working. So, so this was already something that was on my radar. Like, oh, we have to show this. We got to show what's going over here in the country club area. And as I'm making this, as we're working on this, they just did this vote. So it's really kind of crazy, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Um,
and
mhm.
just kind of to kind of come back on what you're talking about, as far as the amount of pushback in this particular area and why the pushback was what it was, is very interesting. Apparently, there was about 250 signatures, so there was a lot of people chiming up in this situation in this particular area. And Council Member Pete Festerson says that it was a difficult case, but council members understand the value of reentry programs and that best practices include a residential component. However, council members cited neighborhood opposition, which again included a petition with more than 250 signatures and the group home's proximity to a school, which apparently served a big issue. According to Caskey, who works with this program, Jason Caskey, who lives a mile away, excuse me, he says the location is quote unquote particularly bad because it is within 400 feet of an elementary school. One of about a dozen people who spoke against the permit says that it is within a half mile of Nathan Hale and another grade school on the path that my children take to get to the pool and the tennis courts and the golf course. He said he thinks the group is doing is a lovely thing. I just don't think this is the best place for it. So again, kind of going to your question, where is the best place for it, if not there? Also, a councilwoman,
Every
Amy
neighborhood is
Milton.
close to a school.
It- right. I mean, yeah. Amy Milton also shared that opinion, saying, "Great house, wrong location." This is again Councilwoman Amy Milton. Great house, wrong location. Really, I don't feel this is the right spot. And this is actually the second time that City Council has rejected a similar request or any application from the Mental Health Association. The organization applied last year to rezone a duplex near 48th and Polk Street to allow transitional living for parolees. However, when the council denied that, some council members suggested the organization find a commercial building in Omaha to use rather than a residential area. Now, the organization then, after that, bought the location in the country club, which has been used as a group home for more than 30 years. So this isn't something that's new to the area. According to this article, again, that location in country club has been used as a group home for again more than 30 years, for about 505,000 was the amount that they purchased it. So again, very interesting why these neighbors are chiming up the way they're chiming up, and again, where are these people allowed to go?
They got plenty of time to do some chiming up, and it puts Festerson and them guys in a bad position when they got that many signatures. They got that many people who got time on their hands to go around and get that many signatures about how they want to keep their neighborhood. And this is just one of many things that happens like that, especially in the country club neighborhood, where they are making sure that they keep it is the way that they want it over there. So it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. It's
Wow.
unfortunate.
I also want to throw in something that we talked to Chris Baby Boy Bolin about that I just can't forget. Again, the whole home covenant situation. If you remember, Chris Baby Boy Bolin did a whole report on some of these historic home covenants in these areas like Underwood and Country Club and Dundee and some of these areas that are little old money type of areas. Again, if you remember, a lot of these homes have a covenant from the 60s and from the 50s and 40s and 30s that still is on the deed of the home that says, do not rent to Negroes and certain individuals from the community. Again, so I mentioned it here on the show before that sometimes the way things start is just what it is.
Yeah, this situation here with formerly incarcerated people. It's unfortunate because uh, it's a different situation. These owners of these houses are saying we want this in this house, and they're not getting not able to do it because of some of this kind of pushback. Tony Johnson in the chat said part of the problem I saw was there was little actual success stories presented to help minimize neighborhood fear.
Mm.
Came across a pushing a concept, not results. It's not my experience at all. I am seeing success story after success story. You can talk to one program, 180 rap program at Metro, and hear about the success stories about people coming out of these programs, going to these houses, all the requirements that it takes for them to do that, how they move on from those houses and get and go back into society and build something for themselves. This there's more stories of those than not. It doesn't take people, and you can tell all the 100% of the success stories to these neighborhoods. I don't think that's going to stop their fear, because I don't think it's all fear. I think that it's not just a element that they don't want, a criminal element that they don't want in their neighborhood, but it's also a racial element that they don't want in their neighborhood. As you know, a lot of the people that are coming out of these places, is half and half. It's people of color and white folks, and all of them economically depressed when they come out because they don't have anything when they come out, and they have to build it up. So there's more to me. There's more to them just being afraid that they're going to have these criminals next door. From my experience, it seems like there's a lot more out there, a lot more reason why they want to control what's going on in their neighborhoods, how they want their neighborhoods to be, with or without the criminal element there, or a halfway house there.
Hmm.
What they've been doing the past 30 years, it's been used as that.
Yeah, it says it's already been used as a group home. So why the change in tune? Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I do want to address something that's being discussed in the chat as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
Brother Stephen Abraham says it's important to have individuals from the community in political positions. And I did want to point out in this instance, this was a city council choice. City council had the ultimate say so whether or not this entity and these resources will be made available to our brothers and sisters that are incarcerated. And I do want to point out that the one individual that is in political position from our community, Sister Juanita Johnson, is the lone voice. Again, it was a 4-1 vote that voted in support of this. But as we see, that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So, I definitely hear what Brother Stephen Abraham is saying as far as having individuals from our community in political positions. But we also, allies, allies, and what was the other word?
Accomplices.
Accomplices. Yeah, yeah, allies and accomplices. We also need to think about that as well. Anthony Rogers, right, kind of echoing what I'm saying. He says we do have local people in political positions. That doesn't necessarily mean that those individuals serve the community. So
Yeah.
that's also a point to make as well. So there are resources, there are solutions, but yeah, let's
I
get at
also I also see what Tony Johnson's saying too. He says, at least not in the meetings I attended, talking about they were not a part of a presentation at city council meeting or neighborhood meetings. And I think
Mm,
I agree with you. That's a big issue right there. I feel like there's, we always are getting reports of how many people from our communities are showing up to some of these meetings and fighting some of these things and saying what they're saying. Brother Senator Terrell McKinney has come on this show all year saying that anything that has to do with law enforcement or parole or any kind of law enforcement reform or jail reform or prison reform is not one of the sexy bills that anybody comes to the legislature to help fight, to get behind. Their attitude in our neighborhood sometimes is the same as other people's attitudes. If they're in jail, we staying away, and we're not really a part of that. It could be family members in jail too. We're still not going and trying to help any kind of jail, any kind of prison reform
mm,
in mass.
mhm.
Who's speaking for people that are coming out, and that's a problem too. You're right. There could be more success stories. There could be more people testifying. There could be more people at these meetings in the first place. I totally agree with that.
Just individuals like citizens, everyday people.
Davian Wilson in the chat, it's a name I haven't seen before, says I really
Yeah.
want to change a few things.
Okay.
Oh, so do we, brother. That's why we here.
Right. That's why we doing what we doing. Again, if welcome. That's a name I don't think we've seen here on the chat before or on the show. I'm not sure if you're usually a ghost listener or what have you, but yeah, welcome to the show. And yeah, if you have any ideas or need any resources, this is the place to possibly make that change happen. A lot of change makers, a lot of influencers in the chat. So again, big shout out to all of you.
There you go. 8:14 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we do have a special guest coming on. Shar Bates is going to join us. Definitely want you to hang around and meet this individual. We will be talking a lot about what's going on in Atlanta, Cop City, and and other things that is cop cities that are happening all around the country as well. But yes, it'll be time to get to know Shar Bates. So stay tuned for that. Tell a friend, share the show on Facebook and YouTube. Share it on your page so we get as many people in talking as we can. I feel like it's going to be I'm anticipating this conversation is going to be a great conversation. So definitely, I'm looking forward to this. Let's take a quick break and we'll come right back and jump into a little bit more discussion in anticipation of our guest. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, myself, Buddi3 Da Gawd over there, and all of
Hey.
you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thank you. Appreciate you very much. We'll be right back, y'all. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us. Shout out to the 630 crew. I didn't give them a shout out on the radio channel this morning. We do have a digital radio channel that you can check out. Go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the listen button, and if it's this time of the morning, then we'll be live on there. If not, then it will be a celebration of Black music happening pretty much all day, every day right now. We're expanding that as well. There's going to be some radio shows coming up in our next iteration of the shows that's going to be happening after July. And don't forget, June the 7th, we're going to be out and about in Benson. This is happening in Benson First Fridays. We're going to have a booth out there. Buddy's going to be in town. We're going to be celebrating 7 seasons of First Sky Omaha in the morning. And then stop by to say hi, cop merch, and talk to us about the next wave. What's going on is we're starting back at 1 come July. So it's going to be some changes to the show, and we can talk about what those changes are going to be, what the next wave of First Sky Omaha in the morning is going to be. But it's always, there you go. But it's always going to center around the conversation with y'all. We appreciate everyone who's in the chat having these conversations. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Let's keep it rolling, keep it going, and tell a friend. We'd like to have as many people in these conversations as we can and contribute to what's going on here with Black media, Black news, especially hyper locally in East Omaha. So appreciate that very much. Jumping back into the chat real quick. Davian Wilson says we have a common friend and we're working on a few things. Can't wait to hear about it for sure. Rick Fulton in the chat says there's an entity run by somebody named Bush, which reminded me of my friend Keisha Bush, who is the cousin was murdered years ago. Okay. Before that, he said, did you see the city council renamed a street in North O Avenue of the Forgotten? Nice job.
I've seen that.
Have not heard that one. Yeah, we need some more info on that one for sure. Malik Rogers in the chat says, anyone find it interesting that the so-called largest group of community leaders who meet weekly do not provide any meeting minutes, show segments, social media updates, or podcasts about resources available? Definitely got to seek out those resources. I know you talk about Empowerment Network's 360 meetings every believe Tuesday or Wednesday. We've definitely been talking to Brother Barney about that. There's not a lot of media that goes out about what's being done there. Very true. I think that's something that we might even be able to help with if possible. But yeah, we would like to find out about more that's going on because we really sometimes don't hear anything until there's big annual reports or big meetings where they are talking about this too on a national level about some of the things that are going on here. So definitely want to work with them on getting some of that word out some more. for sure. Appreciate everybody that's jumped in. I see Jess Parker in the chat. Good morning. Replying to Stephen Abraham. There's two candidates for legislature that sure used their privilege to purchase additional homes in the district they wanted to run in
Mm.
days before the deadline. Whew. One in Omaha and one candidate in Lincoln. Do they actually live in these areas? Nope. How are they supposed to represent the constituents?
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. That's very, very interesting. Going back to actually, Sister Wanda Lewis kind of made a comment about that, saying they live in other communities and are on the board in underserved communities in gatekeeper positions. Talking about leadership from certain communities and how do we find leadership. She goes on to say, using the disadvantaged headcount to collect funding that doesn't reflect improvement in the community.
Mm.
Call that a poverty pimping. That's what
Mm.
I call it.
Good grief. Going back to the chat real quick, Davian Wilson, new name says, so I was sexually assaulted as a kid. Now I'm 35, and there's an article on me. If you type my name in Google, it's a federal case I won. We're just waiting on judge to deliver basically how much I'll be awarded. Wow. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story there. We'll definitely have to talk about that. He says, and what I'm doing with these funds, I'll be working on the school system funding for a certain person running for Senate in 2026.
Hmm.
Says, what I want to do is provide a safe environment for our kids and for victims. Noble effort, noble effort. Can't wait to talk to you more about that. He says, I was told to come on here and talk to you personally so we can definitely help each other. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
let us know who referred you, and we'll definitely give them a shout out. And I appreciate you coming on. So definitely these kinds of things that are happening in our communities that we want to shine some light on and give a voice to people who need that voice. So
Big time.
appreciate you coming on, telling your story for sure. Anthony Rogers right in the chest says, Brother Malik is right. Hence why the black folk closed door discussions is overdue. Too many of our leaders are looking for individual props in lieu of collective power. There's a word for that, and it's colonization.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to hold, our so-called black leadership accountable and at least rally to see, get everybody on the same page. Shout out to Brother Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne. As far as we know, they did send that call out to individuals. Not sure what came of that though, if anything. So yeah. We're talking. We learned more about the Congressional Black Caucus. We talked about the Commission on African American Affairs, looking for some type of entity to get our leadership on the same page so we can have an agenda, so we can have a plan to better our communities, because that does not seem like that's happening.
Yeah. Appreciate that. We'll continue on with that discussion. It is 8:22 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're waiting on our special guest Shar Bates to come through. So in the meantime, I wanted to share a little bit of good news before we jump into this discussion about Cop City,
Okay.
which I have a feeling we're going to jump into here very soon. But yeah, there was a bit of good news. There's a chat chimer, a supporter of First Sky Omaha, a friend of First Sky Omaha that owns a business called Bright Futures Early Learning Center. Shout out to Sunita Buddi, who owns this. She had a press release that just went out recently.
Mm.
I don't think I did. I pull that press release up. I pulled it up over here. Let me read it real quick. But some good news about her situation over there. The Logier Foundation awarded her some money, 47.5, to Brighten
Mm.
Our Futures Early Learning Center grant fund operations for Brighten Future for all step up parent programs, continued education and evaluation tools. Brighten Our Future ELC is pleased to announce it was recently awarded an operation grant by the Logier Foundation. Thanks to the Logier Foundation, we will be able to expand our sliding fee scale to 20% of our enrollment for 2024 to 25. Our unique sliding fee scale makes quality early childhood education affordable for hardworking families who do not qualify for assistance. So there's more to it here, but that's kind of the gist. And I just want to give them a congratulations for winning that award. A shout out to the Logier Foundation for recognizing that one of our child care providers is not just providing child care, but also education, early
Yeah.
learning centers. Everybody who is a friend of First Sky Omaha that is in child care is also involved in education of those child. It's not just a daycare center. Miss Erica Felt with her child care facility, and also Sunita Budai with this one. So we really encourage and am happy that everyone who wants to contribute and help and push these child care facilities that are teaching our kids in our neighborhoods and people that we know are getting some good news here. So that's really good news. Shout out to the center. It's called again Bright Futures Early Learning Center. Shout out to them for doing the work and keeping it up and keeping it up through the hard times too, man. I was talking to Miss Erica Feld all the time. I'm thinking about you guys had a rough go through the pandemic, through of physical changes in where your facility is going to be at. Everything that goes into really kind of taking care of kids, and it's one of those jobs that's like a teacher's job to me. Like you don't get paid enough for the important kind of work that you're doing with our youth, and the fact that there are still people that are in this industry pushing, struggling, doing the best they can, and trying to find funding in order to expand services and make it so that it can be affordable for families to be able to have some child care. Always got to give them a shout out. So
Big time.
yeah,
Yeah. First guy loves the babies.
first guy loves the babies. Again, 8:26 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we do want to talk about Cop City and a few things. Actually, what's on your mind, buddy? What's on your mind to talk about first? May not be Cop City. What are you thinking?
Well, just to be candid, I am in communication with the guest team, so
Okay,
they're
cool.
trying to locate her. So we might need to reschedule. So we'll
Okay.
kind of keep you on on posts about that, let you know what's going on, up to date. But we can continue our conversation just about this theme of individuals on the fringes, others, if you will, and just how they're being treated in our community. Of course, we're talking about mental health. That's been an ongoing conversation, especially on the heels of this Department of Justice designation. Again, the Department of Justice had a probe, actually several years. This probe went on in the Nebraska area. Several community members were spoken to. And again, the department has found that the state is not really ADA compliant. Again, ADA is the federal law that requires states to follow certain designations and regulations on how they handle and what resources are available to individuals suffering with severe mental health. And apparently, DHHS, this coming out of WOWT, has had is reporting a new finding of a facility where apparently an vulnerable adult had disappeared, and is saying that they are in violation of multiple policies. So again, continuing to look at what resources and really what's going on in our communities as far as others. Again, a lot of times those dealing with mental health issues are viewed as others and not, just community members dealing with health issues. And again, this is something that we should definitely be looking out for. This coming out of WOWT in Lincoln. It's been nearly 2 months since 28-year-old Joshua Martin went missing from the Integrated Behavioral Health Services, which is a secure mental health facility in 14 and South Streets in Lincoln. Apparently, Lincoln police had no major updates on Martin's disappearance earlier this week, other than the case is open and active. Police have said Martin suffers from schizophrenia and severe OCD that presents similar to severe autism and social interactions. His family has said he functions at the level of a 5-year-old, again, although he is 28. Following his disappearance, the Department of Health and Human Services launched an investigation and found Integrated Behavioral Health Services was in violation of a number of policies on April 5th when Martin walked and was reported missing. 1011 News obtained the results of the investigation and corrective actions and public records requests. The documents are partially redacted and don't identify Martin outright, instead referring to him as client number one. It lists a number of findings, including that the facility not reporting Martin's disappearance to Adult Protective Services, also a lack of internal investigation into the disappearance, a lack of sufficient staff to supervise clients on April 5th, and a lack of timely reviews of Martin's treatment plan. The investigation said Martin, or client number one, left the facility sometime between 1:30 and 2 p.m., and no staff members saw him walk away. Directly after noticing Martin was gone, the investigation found staff searched the facility before reporting the disappearance to the director of the facility about 40 minutes later. The director called police a few minutes after that. The documents do show no call was made to Adult Protective Services because the staff did not consider an individual leaving the facility neglect, or abuse. And the documents also show the facility is supposed to have one direct support staff for every 4 clients. And there were about 15 clients at the facility the day Martin went missing. And the investigation found staffing labels were not adequate. Staff and administrators told investigators that wasn't uncommon. So, again, this is something that happens often in that area. And again, I'll stop there and just kind of paint the picture, because it's not just this facility. We've heard reports of understaffing at other mental health facilities, especially in Lincoln. Again, there's been reports of the dangers of the facility workers being attacked in several instances. And also, this reminds me of not just individuals in facilities, but individuals outside of facilities. Again, Brother Levi Blake, he suffered from dementia, or dealt with dementia. And again, he walked away, and he had applied for some around the clock services and around the clock oversight that even DHHS had declined. So again, what is going on with our mental health services in the area, in our communities, both in Omaha and Lincoln? Again, there is still a lookout. The search is still open for Mr. Martin. For those of you who are in the Lincoln area, or may be in the Lincoln area, Martin was last seen wearing a red T-shirt and black shorts with a gray stripe. He's about 5'11", 200 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. Police said their criminal investigations unit has been following up on all leads, and they are seeking more information. So again, if any of you do have information, they are requesting that you call 402-441-6000. Again, that's 402-441-6000, if you have any information.
All right. We'll just leave that out there as a mention, and let that marinate a little bit and keep your eye out, and we'll try to keep up with this story as we go along. Appreciate everybody that's here and join us in the chat. We're still hopefully waiting on our special guest to come through, so that is something that we might have to reschedule if it doesn't work out. But we definitely want to keep in mind that we have that we're anticipating Char Bates to come on. Definitely wanted you guys to meet her. So if we don't do it today, we'll do it another day for sure. Mm-hmm. Is in the meantime, between time, if she happens to be able to come on towards the end of the show, then I'd like to absolutely get through some of the stories, some of the things that we wanted to talk about that we usually save for a lightning round. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can jump into some of those now, so we can kind of get the ball rolling on those conversations.
Yeah, one of the big things that since we do have some time, I wanted to dive into is also the situation going on. Again, kind of speaking of the others, speaking of individuals in our communities living on the fringes and dealing with that life on the fringes. Our brothers and sisters in the Santee Sioux Nation in Santee, Nebraska, right up the road in northeast Nebraska, excuse me. And for those of you who might not be aware, it's been 5 years. Again, 5 years since that reservation and those brothers and sisters have had drinking water or drinkable water. So big shout out to Flatwater Free Press for covering this article. Again, the Santee Sioux Reservation is in northeast Nebraska and has been under a no drink order since 2019. Leaders hope a new state law could jumpstart funding needed to fix this problem. Again, the article kind of follows a brother from the tribe, Cameron Runnels, who is a part of the Santee tribal members, and he helps in this article moving a pallet of water bottles with a borrowed forklift. That's how they have to live. Again, pallets of water bottles is the only way that they can quench their thirst or clean or do anything. They load the water into a flatbed, about 48 small bottles at the front a door of each home is how they deliver these foods or deliver these resources. And again, the Environmental Protection Agency put the tribe under a no drink order in 2019 after the tribe found manganese in its water samples, and those levels were above the EPA's health advisory levels. Since Runnels was elected vice chairman 2.5 years ago, Runnels has been traveling to Lincoln and Washington, D.C., highlighting the problem to lawmakers and bureaucrats, asking the state and the feds for help. However, it hasn't worked. As the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs grant that U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs grant that once offset the cost of the water bottles has actually dried up, and now a 2022 bill in the Nebraska legislature meant to deliver millions in funding to the reservation actually died on the floor. The legislature did earmark some funds for water for the tribe this spring, a move that tribal leaders hope could spark momentum and allow the Santee to complete a massive proposed water project to the tune of $53 million. However, until they get those funds, in the meantime, the tribe is spending about $14,000 a month buying and delivering water bottles. Again, $14,000 a month just on bottled water.
Mm.
Reynolds went on to say, we're supposed to be the richest country, greatest country in the history of the world, but you got people right in the middle of your state, right in the middle of the country that can't even drink their own faucet water, can't even fill up a glass or make tea or anything like that. And again, this is all due to the high levels of manganese in their water. And for those of you who are not familiar, again, manganese is something that we need in small amounts. Again, we all need a small amount of manganese, a common, naturally occurring mineral in rocks and soil in order to stay healthy. However, consuming high levels of manganese can cause adverse effects to the central nervous system. That's according to Nebraska Department of Energy and Environment, a spokeswoman in an email. Formula-fed infants are at great risk because of their developing nervous systems and higher absorption rates. Studies have also shown that when high levels of manganese are inhaled, usually by steel workers, it can produce a disabling condition similar to Parkinson's disease. According to the EPA, adverse health effects are not expected below zero point 0.3 milligrams of manganese per liter of drinking water. And also, Canada's health department has a guideline of less than half that much manganese. However, the World Health Organization has an even lower threshold for milligrams per water. And again, so the highest level that's even remotely safe is 0.3. Recent tests of the reservations show that their manganese levels was at 2.8. And at times, the tribe's civil engineer Clinton Powell samples show that the manganese in the water has soared to 50 times higher than what the government says is safe to drink. So
Wow.
again, and actually, for those who might think, why don't they just boil the water? Apparently, boiling only makes it worse.
Mm.
So again, a situation that a lot of us may not be aware of. I saw Miss Erica Fell earlier in the chat responding with a whoa. Yeah, that's the reality for some of our brothers and sisters right up the road in Northeast Nebraska. Again, Santee, Nebraska, not too far from Omaha.
She said, "Whoa, what can we do to help?"
Yeah.
Is her comment too, and that is something to think about as well. I'm not really sure, but we definitely can look into it. I feel like we've been hearing about the situation in Flint for so many years, and because there's been a major documentary filmmaker, Michael Moore, who's from Flint.
Mm.
Big light has been shined on Flint, and we were watching that brown water come out of those faucets and stuff for years, and not really understanding that kind of stuff is happening right here in Nebraska as well. So what can we do in order to help? I feel like one of the first things that we better do is check in with the elders of that nation and find out what the situation is from their
Mm-hmm.
standpoint, and then figure out something to do. Maybe collection of. You got to keep on with the water bottles for a while until something gets fixed. Not sure what can get fixed, but I definitely feel like this is one of those things that we need boost to the roots to try to help in a big way. Anthony Rogers right in the chat says, which is to say nothing about the forever chemicals in Omaha tap water. The next skirmish in Nebraska is going to be over water.
Mm.
Yes, I've been hearing for a few years. We're kind of like third or fourth in the country of having the worst tap water
Really?
in the first place. Yeah, so drinking the water in the first place is a kind of is not too great. Remember we covered some stuff about Jim Pillen and the pig farms and the
Yep.
nitrates
Yep.
and how
Yeah.
that kind of stuff gets in there and causes brain cancer in babies and all kinds of stuff. So the water's bad in the first place, let alone places that is just absolutely undrinkable, like it is there. And man, what is the solution? I'm sitting here looking at this photo of this brother who's got all these bottles out here,
Yeah, man.
and
That's
I'm,
that's
go ahead.
yeah, that's the Reynolds guy. He's the vice president of the vice chairman of the tribe.
That's him right there. He's
Yeah.
one out there with the forklift with all these bottles of water. And how many bottles of water did you say he has to bring out, or they have to?
It says gotta go back.
I'm looking at I'm looking at these bottles, man, and I while you look at that, I'm thinking
Mhm.
to myself, I'm trying to look at see the name on the cases here because I'm from California and I'm from a place where the Nestle company has been busted for just putting tap water in bottles and selling it.
Yeah,
And
Chippewa is the name of
yeah,
that company.
so
Chippewa.
it's that's another thing to look at. I don't think anybody's. I mean, I hope I guess that water is going to be better than whatever it is that they are experiencing in their area, even if it is, even if the source is questionable.
Yeah. $14,000 a month. So some companies making a lot of money from this. Some companies making a lot of money from this issue. 14,000 a month they're spending on water bottles alone.
Yeah.
You know.
Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier about the help that everybody was getting for the tornadoes out west,
Mm.
Elkhorn. A lot of money being released for that. Anybody doing that here? Anybody helping them out? There's always relief funds here and there that everybody gets on talking about. We got some relief funds for you here. We got some National Guard people to come take care. You come and take care of your possessions. Can we get any help for the Sioux Nation?
Well, again, there was a bill. The Nebraska legislature did have a bill where there were funds that were earmarked. But again, it says that that bill, died on the floor. And there are some funds apparently that will be coming. Also, again, it says the legislature did earmark some state water funds for the tribe this spring. So that is something that they are hopeful about. But again, it's not. It's a band aid. It's not a full fix. Again, they need about $53 million to fix their whole water project. So again, still far from real solutions in this situation. And I want to point out the location. There's not a Hy-Vee or Walmart that's anywhere. It says the nearest Hy-Vee or Walmart is more than 45 minutes away in Yankton, South Dakota. So they have to go to a different state in order to get some of this water. So not just paying for the water itself, but actual travel of getting that to them is also a challenge.
Wow. I see Brother Anthony Rogers Wright says, yeah, bottled water is not the answer. It creates more pollution that taints
Hmm.
water sources. So
Hmm.
somebody was talking earlier about, let's see who was saying that. Somebody was talking a little earlier about what the recycling of those bottles. There's a lot of bottles that the city that the area needs, and so what's going on with all those? Yeah, and it's not. You're right. It's not ideal for sure. Also, there's lots of Inflation Reduction Act money for water. We really need to educate people more about it before it all goes to white folk.
Mm.
So some funds there to maybe have to apply for. I can't imagine that this is not this is a situation that needs to be fixed on all kinds of different levels. The
Mhm.
infrastructure level, of course, which is
Right.
something that, yeah, but also, even the temporary solution that they have right now for water. I mean, that can't be cheap. It's probably hurting people economically to not be able to get the water they need to do what they have to do as well, and to depend on stuff like bringing in thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of bottles of water every however
Month.
many. Yeah,
Yeah, this is a monthly situation that they're doing this, and I'm just thinking this is the water bottles have to be used for drinking and cooking and things. So I'm kind of thinking, are they still bathing in this stuff?
yeah,
Are they still washing their clothes in this stuff?
it's a good question.
And also a thought that is coming to mind, not just with the Santee Sioux, but as you all in the chat have mentioned, the water, the drinking, I mean, the nitrates, in other areas of the state and just in the Omaha area alone, the drinking water, as you mentioned, is bad. And I'm just thinking, like, how can a state like Nebraska have water issues when it has the largest freshwater aquifer under it, the Ogallala Aquifer? How does this work? And according to this article, groundwater apparently isn't an option. It says that there is a nitrate plume that looms in groundwater near Santee.
Wow.
If it migrated to any newly drilled wells, the tribe would have to invest substantially more in treatment. Many parts of Nebraska are seeing a slow, steady increase in nitrate in groundwater, which has been linked to childhood cancers and thyroid disease. The problem is worse in sandy soil, like some of Santee's areas. So, again, although we have the nation's largest freshwater aquifer, due to nitrates and due to pollution that has been linked to major, big farm situations, as far as, Governor Pillen's pig empire. Yeah, we can't even access the largest freshwater aquifer to drink. So again, where do we go?
Man, I'm gonna have to leave it there, bro.
Mind blown, Paul.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Um, Definitely something we'll continue to talk about. Keep our eye on. If you have any ideas about what it is that we can do to help their situation over there, even temporarily, then let's start discussing that and seeing if we can do something about it, and encourage others to do it. First thing that we do is try to get the word out, spread the word. So do us a favor and do that as well. Spread the word, share the show on your page. Get people talking about it. If you have any resources and things you can think of, then talk to your contacts. Bring them on the show so we can continue the discussion and try to get to some actionable items. Juan Lewis says the more plastic is recycled, the thinner it becomes, and the thinner the plastic, the more BPAs it releases, especially in bottles.
Man, which leads to cancer.
There you go. Jess Parker says probably spending more money on bottled water than it would to fix the water system.
It's kind of what I'm thinking.
Definitely feels. I see Brother Pena in the chat earlier this morning too. He says good morning and goodbye, but the Nestle Water Company has been pumping water out of our ground wells, drying up communities, causing a shortage of water everywhere. Like I said, Nestle be no good when it comes to that stuff. There's all kinds of stuff they've been doing that's messed up. We have to look into making sure that we are fact checking all the things that has been done, but it's pretty well documented. But that's something that is to look out for as well. Like you say, you just gave us this whole scenario with the aquifer being full of nitrates. So if they're pulling up well water for those bottles, might still be in trouble. So we'll definitely continue to talk about it and see what we can do about trying to help the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Meantime, between time, let's move on. It's 8:47 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you want to get into a little bit more lightning round, or what are you thinking right now?
Yeah. Kind of moving along.
Mm-hmm.
I guess some more positive news. We can switch a little bit. This coming out of the Omaha Road Herald. OPS is making final changes to its pandemic aid plan to buy pre-K iPads, emergency radios, and HVAC. The remaining funds and the largest federal award in history for the Omaha Public Schools will buy iPads for pre-kindergarten students, HVAC units for multiple schools, and digital radios for emergency response. This was announced during a Monday meeting. The school board approved what OPS officials say is the final revision of the district's plan for a $194 million federal pandemic relief plan. Shane Rain, who is the chief financial officer for OPS, said some purchases recently came in under budget, while money for other planned purchases wasn't able to be fully spent, allowing the district to allocate about $31.6 million to some final projects before the September 30th deadline for spending those funds. Now, OPS received a total of $304 million in pandemic relief through 3 rounds of funding. The first round, of course, they received $23 million, and that was used to buy 54,000 iPads with internet connectivity, something that happened under Dr. Cheryl Logan. The second round was about $86 million, which was spent on updating technology, and the latest round was about $194 million. So again, when you talk about OPS funding, they're rolling in the dough. It seems like by all accounts. The last round of funds went toward academic initiatives, including high dosage tutoring, summer school, after school programs, early literacy, and more curriculum, plus additional wages and facility projects. And the district has the district also has remaining funds in its last round of relief because it didn't spend the budgeted amount for several allocations. Officials had set aside more than $42 million to buy high quality curriculum, but ended up only using about 27 of that. So they even have more funds to use on things. Definitely, should have some people in those school board meetings to possibly have a voice into where those funds will go. Susan Christopherson, who's the chief academic officer for OPS, says it has been a request of early childhood classrooms to have some of the materials they need to prepare for going into kindergarten. It's not like they would be on this them every day or all day. There are some things that they can do that will benefit that will be beneficial as well. So, and by all accounts, I would say good news that again more individuals in the OPS system will be getting more resources, but still, still conversation to be had about the state of OPS and what can be done. And also, I'll take this time to remind you that the whole school choice situation is still raging on. Although it was taken off the ballot, there are bills that are coming and another petition drive that's ongoing.
Yeah, we talk about how much money OPS got all the time, and we forgot that they have all this extra money that came from the pandemic situation that they've
Yep.
just been sitting on and just now getting to figuring out.
Mm.
Teacher pay, Brother Pena said, right. I hear that. Other things can be. I was cracking up though when I read the first couple lines that they were saying that they're gonna spend it on iPads and HVAC, and I just pictured the kid going home like, "Mom, I got an iPad and an air conditioner." They probably do need some HVAC repairs and stuff like that
Hmm.
inside
Hmm.
school for sure. That's something that I'm sure they have figured in the budget for upkeep as well. But so yeah, I guess if they're gonna go ahead and spend the rest of this money on some things, who makes that decision is kind of the first thing that comes to my mind. Is that a board decision? Is that a faculty decision?
Mm.
Who's making these decisions on where that money goes and where they think that they need it the most? And who's going to benefit from these things. So it's good news. It's a mention. Definitely reminding us that OPS has a huge budget, money to be allocated in several different kinds of places. And again, who's making the decisions on where it goes, and who's making the decisions to stop more of it coming? Who's making the decision to sit on it for years? You know what I'm saying? Lots of
Hmm.
questions about the budget when it comes to that being as something that we learned early on that OPS's budget is it bigger than the city budget?
No, it's not bigger than the city budget, but it's bigger than
Big as the city.
some. Yeah, you're right. We're talking about 700 to $800 million is the budget for it's not far off. It's not far off. I think the city budget is only about 300 or 400 million more.
Hmm.
So it's definitely about 60% of the city budget. But again, we're talking about a school district versus an entire city, and the budgets are
One
very
school
close.
district, right?
Right. So,
Anthony Rogers Rice says elections are not going to save us. If even if Nebraska could flip all three seats and both Senate seats, that's only 5 votes out of 535.
hmm.
Malik Rogers says North Omaha school board members seem to have no interest in communicating with the community. Well, we know one person that does have interest in that. We can get her on at some point. Bree Full, shout out to the work that she's been doing over there. She really wants to come and talk, and it's just a matter of finding that balance. I actually talked to her recently, and she was like, she's like this with the school board and this new job, new position I got. Lots going on. I'm definitely trying to
Man.
make sure that I got some self care happening so I don't burn out on this. And yeah, shout out to her for doing that and taking care of herself in the meantime. We'll definitely have her on soon to talk about it. But I really feel like we need to have people from the administration on more. I feel like they are making a lot more decisions, have a lot more power than the board does. And it'd
Yeah.
be interesting to hear from them on the reasons why they've done some of the things they've done.
It's a great point. In the article, they're quoting the chief financial officer and a lot of the budgeting and financial people. I'm not sure if that's board positions. I do think that's more a faculty situation. So yeah, definitely good point.
Yep. 8:53 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're coming up on that 9 o'clock hour when we agreed to shut it down. We do have a few haps today. It's not necessarily a big haps day because of Friday, but we got a few more coming in. But before we do that, buddy, are we need any lightning round situations here? Or are we coming
Just two
to?
mentions,
Mhm.
just two quick
Okay,
mentions before we get out of here and jump
cool.
into our haps. Of course, definitely want to talk about the Malcolm X situation going on today. So maybe we can mention that in our haps. But before we get out of here, there was last episode some conversation about the possibility of neither Trump or Biden making it to the presidential election. Of course, Biden's health was brought up, and also Trump's legal issues were brought up. And again, some in the chat kind of question whether or not Trump would be convicted or not. So I did come across this update from from KETV via the Associated Press, reporting on the update of the ongoing hush money trial that's been happening again for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's lawyers apparently rested their defense Tuesday without the former president taking the witness stand in his New York hush money criminal trial. The jury was sent home for a week, and the trial is expected to pick back up on May 28th. When closing arguments are expected, but the attorneys plan to return later Tuesday to discuss how the judge will instruct jurors on deliberation. So more conversation going, but again, that is expected to go to jury later this month. So again, no convictions yet, but the trial is ongoing, and that is something that we're looking out for. Also, kind of side note on that issue, I posted this on my personal Facebook page, but if you remember, there's an attorney out of Baltimore that was one of the attorneys that was trying to get Trump on some charges. Sister Marilyn Mosby, who was eventually convicted herself, and some people were saying that she was being made an example of, as far as again, lawyers trying to hold people accountable, lawyers really trying to do their job. And again, she is supposed to be getting sentenced and facing some charges. And there's actually a petition to have her pardoned that is available on Facebook and on the internet. So again, if anyone has paid attention to that story or is aware of that story, again, there is a petition on my Facebook page for you to sign as well. So there is that.
And Friends of First Guy Omaha.
Yeah, I'll drop it. And then also, last but not least, before we jump into our haps, this is something, just a resource that apparently one of the chat chimers, one of our ghost listeners, has dropped in Friends of First Guy Omaha that I wanted to kind of bring some attention to. Apparently, they've done their own data digging and created this whole chart of the North and South Omaha Recovery Grant Program, i.e., the 531 funds. And we're still following the money. We're still paying attention to who's getting the money, who's not, and what this process is, and a lot of questions still out on as far as what is the DED doing with these hundreds of millions of dollars. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Jay Hanna for this whole effort, man. This is some impressive work as far as digging through these numbers and putting together this resource. So for those who are interested and just want to know more about what's going on with the LB 1024 funds still following the money, you can check that out on Friends of really quickly. And that's pretty much it.
There you go. Jay Hanna is also the person that has put together a couple things for look, I'm frozen again. For our audio. I was he's doing a lot of work here and not hearing too much from him. So Jay Hanna, if you're here and you're listening, we definitely would love for you to come and join the conversation and be a part of the conversation as well. Appreciate all the work that it sounds like you're doing, but we also need that part. So please definitely come on through and just kind of
join the conversation.
Join the conversation, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Also, speaking of joining the conversation, just an update. As I mentioned, I have been in communication with our guest's team, and apparently she's sick this morning. So, she might be laid up trying to recover right now. We are going to work on rescheduling, and just hope that Sister Sharbates get well soon.
Yeah, glad you found that out.
Yeah.
Hoping everything was okay for sure.
Yep, she's sick. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, everything's not okay. So.
Yeah, right. But we did reach her. We did get some contact, and we are working on rescheduling because that is a conversation that we are looking forward to having.
Most def. We definitely want you to meet her. Dynamic individual. Let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of some haps, if you don't mind. If you guys have any haps, then please let us know.
What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
We always want to know what's going down. Of course, the biggest thing that's going on today, and the earliest thing that's going on today, is what's happening with the Malcolm X induction. Well, how do you say it? Just
induction.
Yeah, there you go. Honoring Nebraska's native son of human rights, Nebraska Hall of Fame Commission. being inducted in the Hall of Fame May 20. This is today at 1
Yeah.
o'clock. This is going down. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation for all the work that they've been doing on that. Everybody has been saying the dinner went well.
Yeah, man.
And now today is the day. Hall of Fame induction is happening. So more information on that, you can go to Malcolm Foundation, malcolmxfoundation.org. And yeah, go up to the Capitol and be a part of the induction that's happening today. So just want to make mention of that since that's the earliest thing happening. 1 o'clock it's going down.
Yeah, going down in the rotunda.
In the rotunda. There you go. So yeah, appreciate that very much. Also, you know that we're working with the Land Bank right now a little bit on trying to spread the word about this symposium that they got going on here. They've partnered with Spark CDI, which I think is a a really great partnership in order to start getting some of the stuff happening here in the neighborhoods. You know, we've been pretty critical of the Land Bank for a while because the fact that they seem to have been taking the land and kind of using it or giving it to developers and doing kind of some things that's happening that didn't feel too cool. Like we didn't have control of what's going on with the land in the surrounding areas of North and South Omaha, especially. Well, they actually are trying to teach people how to be developers as well, people from the neighborhood, and they've been working on reaching out a lot more on that. So this is coming up. We highly encourage you to go ahead and put your registration in on this to go check it out June 6th. But basically, they're in partnership with CDI. They're hosting the inaugural Reignite to Unite Omaha Developers Symposium presented by Wells Fargo on June 6th at Metropolitan Community College's Institute for Culinary Arts. The symposium will encourage participants to play a proactive role in the transformation of formerly vacant and abandoned properties into community assets. Resources provided at the symposium will touch on the intersection of land activation, housing, and economic development. The one-stop shop feel of the event will ensure small-scale development that addresses our affordable housing demands, strengthens neighborhoods, and generates wealth. Specialized tracks and workshops during the symposium will immerse participants in hands-on learning activities that will result in actionable proposals that can be used to apply for land bank lots for future development. That's a very important one right there. We have some personal experience of going to some of these meetings and going through some of those activities that show how these places are being chosen, how people are being chosen, what it is that is important to them. For instance, neighbors and people in the neighborhood get the highest priority for the lands as opposed to other entities that come from the outside. They show you how they come to those conclusions, and they show you how to apply and take some actionable and take some action on being able to apply for future developments. This is not just an exercise. You actually can put a proposal together with this symposium. So definitely check it out. There will be a luncheon, a State of the Omaha Housing Address, Land Bank's Ambassador Graduation. Following lunch, participants and developers track will have the chance to pitch their proposals. So we'll be able to see what everybody's kind of feeling and thinking about what they can do with these things, these parcels of land in the neighborhood. Could be a community garden, could be a house for incarcerated individuals, like we just talked about.
Man.
So many things we can do here. Also, Omaha Municipal Land Bank will also share updates for the lot transformation shovel ready project, which is pretty great. Pretty great project as well, because it takes a lot to really get land to the point of being able to build something on it. Man. And so they have picked some lands that they are going to get shovel ready for you. So it's even, costs even less for you to get in. Early bird pricing is available until June 1st, and tickets can be purchased via Eventbrite. So definitely connect with this. Like I say, even if you're not quite ready to buy land, this will give you some insights on what it is that you can do when you are ready, and even help get you ready.
Yeah. And just wanted to mention, as far as being, not necessarily being ready to buy land, we spoke to Brother Don Curry, who kind of mentioned that there is a pathway where you might not even have to spend your own money. There you can get the proper documentation, you can get to the bank, then you might be able to get a loan and get some things going. So moves can be made. Just got to take advantage of the resources.
Got to. Already 3 minutes past 9 o'clock, our agreed upon shutdown hour. I appreciate you guys sticking with us a few more minutes just in order to just reconnect with you guys and also to talk about a few more haps. If you have any haps that you think we need to be looking at for the rest of the week or for the weekend or any time that's coming up, because there's a lot of stuff going on here, June and July especially. Let us know. Put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha. We really appreciate that very much. Anthony Rogers Wright says, I hope they will also be open to cooperative options like using that land for community solar and community food systems. Absolutely
Yes.
have. We actually talked about that in the meetings that I was in about some of these alternative uses for land as well. So definitely open. I definitely would say be a part of that conversation with them. That would work. Roscoe Wallace in the house saying, good morning, dear brothers. Good morning, bro.
Peace,
He said,
peace.
Brother Malcolm changed my life after reading the autobiography while in a prison cell. He made me believe in a street hustler being able to educate himself. After reading his story, I started studying the dictionary. One love. Okay.
One love,
Following in the
one love.
footsteps.
Yeah, man, he set the example for a lot of us, man. I'm included, man. You know, changed my life. I don't really talk about my story a lot, but you know, at one point I was facing 1 to 20 years before I went to college, and you know, here I am. So definitely big ups to you know. Lo and behold, after college, I came back to work at the birth site of Brother Malcolm X. So definitely changed a lot of our lives. Big shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation for getting the brother recognized, getting him on the Hall of Fame. And I also did want to recognize, you know, some of the individuals who were awarded at the dinner on
Yeah.
Sunday. I saw brother Marcy Yates of the Culture House. Man, Marcy's my bro for sure. Definitely big ups and congratulations to the Culture House and everyone else who was awarded at the Malcolm X dinner for their community work. You know, and keeping that essence, keeping that legacy going. So big shout out.
Also, Brother Ed Poindexter and Brother Mondo, two individuals that actually passed away in prison, that were unjustly imprisoned. They were our
Mhm.
Black Panther elders that have been in there for many years. And if you don't know the story of them, definitely check it out. I believe it's still on the website, on the Noise website. There's an in-depth articles about Brother Mondo, Brother Ed. They also received awards from the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, which I think is heavy,
Yeah, man.
heavy.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've been recognized publicly by by the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, strong move, and I
Yeah, man.
appreciate them for that as well. So, yep. Brother Malik Rogers said, Brother Malcolm X recognized by the state with a bust and ceremony, but not taught and mentioned in Nebraska schools.
Still
Whole
work to
lot,
do.
whole lot not taught and mentioned in Nebraska
Yeah,
schools.
yeah. Right,
You're
right.
right.
Still a lot of
You
work to
know,
do.
right, but yeah, still a lot of work to do, definitely. And I've had on the inside been hearing efforts for people to get that curriculum in for sure. And shout out to the BAA, Black Agenda Alliance, who's been who their next book, the book club they're going to be reading is the autobiography of Malcolm X. And so they'll be, we taking our education in our own hands in that way,
Yeah, man.
big way. Also, speaking of them, they have the Dr. Umar coming up. You
Yeah.
get your tickets for this too, man. Black Agenda Alliance, Dr. Umar Ifantunde, Union of the African Diaspora, Pan African Juneteenth Kickoff is the new name for this event. The
Mhm.
Pan African Juneteenth Kickoff is happening Saturday, June 1st at Assembly of the Saints, 4224 North 24th Street in Omaha, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. We will put this flyer in Friends of First Sky Omaha so you can hit the Cash App and the registration uh, 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 codes. Can't remember what they call it right now. Doggone shame.
The
Um,
QR codes?
QR codes. Thank you. So you can use your phone and go ahead and get your tickets for that. I believe brother Kasim said those tickets are $40. So and all the funds are not even going to Dr. Umar. He's going to do this for free so that those funds can be raised in order to shore up Black Agenda Alliance and be put into the 8 acres of land they own over there as well. So you can think of this as a fundraiser for them as well. But yes, Dr. Umar always sells out when he gets in town. I highly encourage you to get your tickets early and go check him out.
Man. Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, some good stuff. I'm sorry, I'm getting my stuff is getting stuck here. Good stuff for sure. Appreciate everybody that's coming in. Also, one more to think about: the 7th annual prayer walk is happening also on Saturday, June the 1st. It's happening a little earlier in the day. Meet at the bus station at 2 p.m. and walk the same route that Zachary took to Speedy Mart for a vigil to call out the police brutality to indigenous people. If you don't remember the case of Brother Zachary Bearhills, he was killed by the hands of police. They tried to act like it was excited delirium, was the term that they used, even though they had basically shocked him to death with stun stun guns or whatever.
Yeah, man.
I just read something or just recently where I believe the Biden administration is taking this excited delirium off the table on a federal level. That can't be used as an excuse for death anymore. Doesn't even make any sense. It's something that has stuck with me ever since I heard it. It's so ridiculous for this person to be attacked by police, killed by police, and then they, in an attempt to try to get them off, say he died by excited delirium. Can you imagine? Can you imagine somebody? Can you imagine an entity that is supposed to be policing us that would come up with a term like excited delirium? That's how you died? Excited delirium.
Come on, man. Come on, buddy.
Even they know that that's BS, man. So, shout out to the administration that's trying to this getting rid of that excuse. But definitely shout out to the family of Brother Bear Hills, and if you can make it down there Saturday, June 1st, to do the 7th annual prayer walk and call out police brutality, please be a part of that. If that's your activism, appreciate it very much. And need to go call for public art. We just had our representative from Amplify Arts come on and talk about this. This is still a thing for you artists. Call closes June the 9th, so I highly suggest you go to omahacentrallibrary.org/art if you want to get your art in the public library. You can get more information by going to the omahacentrallibrary.org and hearing about it. But shout out to Omaha Public Library and Amplify Arts for putting this down. It's going to be a major situation over here on 72nd and Dodge, and I would love for us to have some representation in there. So please, if you're an artist, especially from North and South Omaha, especially an artist of color, an indigenous artist, a immigrant artist, anybody, we want to make sure that we got some representation in this building that's being built here. So please go to omahacentrallibrary.org and /art and go ahead and put your application in. It closes June 9th.
There you go.
Yep. All right. Appreciate everybody who's who's jumped in here, man. There's a lot of people in the chat. Please go back and read the chat. Please go back and check out Facebook and YouTube and check out all the chats. A lot of good information, a lot of good conversation, a lot of good back and forth. Really appreciate that very much. We'll save the rest of the haps for Friday. We'll have a little bit more extensive haps. Already 11 minutes past 9, so we're going to get out of here. But thank you very much. Hopefully we'll be having Brother Hassani Lee on Friday to talk a little about some updates. Got to confirm that with him, but we hopefully will have him on to be able to talk about what's been going on with the OHA situation and some updates on his case. You heard that he won his court case, so we love to hear some details on that, and we'll work on it. So appreciate it very, very much. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah. Also, again, I am in conversation with the team of Sister Sharp Bates, and she actually reached out and apologized for her not being able to make it again. She is under the weather, so all is good. Just hope she gets well soon. We are working on rescheduling her very soon as well. So maybe Friday might be a jam-packed day. We'll see. So in the meantime, between time, big shout out to all of you for joining the conversation and sticking with us through the changes and things happening. Brother Anthony Rogers right in the chat saying, great show today, brothers, despite the guests not being able to make it. Y'all are black chameleons and can adapt to anything. Big up. I appreciate that, man. We live, man. Hey. We live, man. Got to make it happen, man. So, but we're gonna be here and have the conversation regardless. So again, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you all for joining that conversation. And man, we're going to be here, do the things every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. So in the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
In the morning.
There you go. Yeah.
We're going to be talking here. We also going to be talking there. So meet us out here on June the 7th, man. We're going to talk about the next wave that's happening. We're celebrating 7 seasons of First Sky Omaha in the morning. We're not doing an 8th season. We're kind of starting back at 1 with a whole new situation. So come on, talk to us. Buddy will be in town. We'll be down there hanging on in Benson with a booth. It'll be a good time. We got Rain's Productions in the house that's helping us put these things on. She'll be down there. Katie Rain, hang out. We can talk about some things and some next wave that we come down and talk to us about what we got going on. This is First Friday, Benson booth, June the 7th. Probably be down there in the evening time, somewhere between 5 and 9. So we'll be hanging out. Come on down, check us out for sure. And more announcements to come about some things we got coming up. Buddy will be in town.
Yeah, man.
So you know what that means, man. We're gonna have to go ahead and get a little session. We got to have a little Chat Chimers kickback, maybe a little cookout, little jam session, little domino session, because
Man.
the reigning queen needs to be taken down. Shout out to Kimber for being our reigning dominoes champion. And yeah, I'm sure Buddy's looking to
Yeah. I gotta avenge.
blast you. It's going down. Pop says, thanks for a most informative show. You two are always dropping gems. Much appreciated. See you all on Wednesday. Appreciate you, Pops. Very much so. Shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, the Chat Chimers, allowing us to speak with you and coming on the show and sharing your stories, being heard, and joining the discussion that will lead to some action on trying to make things better here in our hometown, Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Josh Tate says, great show. Have a great hump day. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to brother Davian Wilson, kind of a new Chat Chimer that joined us today. Definitely come back. Let's continue to have conversations, continue to connect. And yeah, let's keep it moving, y'all.
I highly encourage you to join the conversation as well. So I appreciate that you have your story that you're telling and you have an agenda and some things you want to get done. And I appreciate that very much. Also, come on through and discuss some things with us as well so we can get your viewpoint on some of the stories and some of the things that we're working on. And also join Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page. That's kind of where the conversation happens when we're not live. And that's also where we pull some of the articles and things that we're going to talk about that you want us to talk about when we get together. So appreciate that very much. And everybody else new that has joined us and the ghost listeners, people that are listening without commenting, appreciate you guys too. Spread the word. And always let us know where it is that we can do better so that we can really, this is about outreach. This is about us having a conversation with people in our neighborhoods about things that are affecting us.
Yeah. And on that note, Mama God made it a point to remind me that we got to do a better job at directing people to the YouTube as well. So, yeah, please make sure you like, share, subscribe on the YouTube page. We are trying to get up to 500 subscribers on our YouTube page. We're about 300. So again, about halfway there. So again, please go ahead and check out our YouTube. We are trying to do that to be honest, man, to make some money, to keep this thing going. It takes finance to pay for these services, to pay for these lights and cameras and equipment and, keep things up to date because things, break. So again, we appreciate you. We love you for those who have already done that. And yeah, we ain't asking you. I mean, for those who are, donating and giving money, we appreciate that. But at least you can do is go ahead and like and subscribe to our YouTube page to help us out. So we appreciate you and catch you next time.
Spread the word on that, please. And I do want to give a special thanks to all the new people that's been coming on.
Yeah.
Go to Friends of First Sky Omaha, hit the donate button. You can be a $10 recurring member, a $25 or $50 member. So shout out to those members that signed up. There's a lot of new memberships that's happening. And, we really can't do these things without you. We really appreciate that. And do us a favor, share your email address with us as well. Go to firstsky@gmail.com and shoot us your email address so we can have some direct conversations with you on via a newsletter that we got dropping soon. So there's going to be more ways that we communicate, more things that we're going to be doing here in order to be able to really kind of solidify our group, our First Sky Omaha family that you guys are, that we feel like you are. So really appreciate that. We'll also be moving towards YouTube exclusively come July as well. So really, really do us a favor, start moving over there in order for us to have even more enhanced conversations and things on Facebook. It's just suited for the chat in a better way. And also, again, we can do YouTube ads and things like that in order for us to help pay for the channel. So I appreciate that as well. And we'll talk more about that as times is, like I said, meet us out there. We'll talk about the new wave and how it is that we're talking about trying to sustain this as well. We can talk about those things too, advertising and all kinds of things that we're stepping into. So yeah, love to hear from you and love to speak with you in person. If you can come out on June the 7th, that'd be awesome. Shout out to, speaking of ads, shout out to Drunk Ship Coffee for supporting the show as well. And also shout out to the Municipal Land Bank, Omaha Municipal Land Bank, that found it valuable to team up with us in order to get people involved in what's going on here with getting this land together. They recognize that we got people who have been critical and who understand that they have an important role in the fact that there's so much vacant land in North and South Omaha, and it can easily be caught up by companies and entities out even outside of Omaha that want to
Man.
buy up the neighborhood. So they're making some efforts to try to make sure the neighborhood is in control of this land. So shout out to them for, first of all, being open to hear some changes and open to some critical some critical comments and trying to hold them accountable on some things and taking some action on it as well. So shout out to the Omaha Municipal Land Bank. Shout out to Spark CDI also for doing this work. And really appreciate you guys considering that. You guys are people who we talk to about these things, and we've all had discussions about how critical we have been about what's going on with the land bank. But as you can see, we're trying to dig in, and as we dig in, we'll try to uncover more information, and hopefully that more information will satisfy some of the things that we needed to hear, and hopefully they'll continue to keep working to satisfy some of the things that we need them to do as well. So this is a good way to really kind of keep track on that is, and also bend their ear about a thing or two. They sat and took notes already about a lot of things that we said we needed to see in our neighborhoods, and they're making an effort. So shout out to those individuals that are working at the land bank that are trying to make those changes. We're going to have a special guest on from the land bank here shortly as well. Can't wait for you to meet this sister. She's really trying to make a big difference, a big change over there. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, between time, yes, Pops, we'll see you Friday. Appreciate everybody that stayed past all the time that, we were supposed to be shutting this down at 9 o'clock. You guys are still here at 9:20.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you. We'll see you Friday, y'all. Have a good one.
Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any